What's up, guys, and welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to be working on a ghosty mask from Never Hike Alone. Let's get into it. So here we have our blank. This was purchased on Etsy for around 20 bucks from Top Notch Replica. The first thing we have to do is drill out all these vent holes, and there are a ton of them. I started with a smaller diameter drill bit just to kind of put pilot holes in, and then went with the bigger one, which is a 3/8 diameter. Next is cutting out the eye holes with a Dremel, and I'm using a cutting wheel just to get all that material out of the backside. Then we're going to go in with a sanding bit and clean up all the cuts. This made a ton of dust, so if you're going to do this on your own, I highly suggest wearing the proper mask. There's a lot of plastic that gets in the air. Here we have all the holes cleaned up, and it's starting to look like a Jason mask. Now we're going to hit the mask with an 80 grit sandpaper. This is a step you really want to put a lot of time and care into so the paint properly adheres to the plastic. Our first coat is a flat gray primer, and we're just making sure to hit the entire mask, really get good coverage so our color sticks to this. This step is optional. I just wanted to paint the inside of the mask black. It looked fine gray, but I just prefer the look of the black. It's darker and just looks better in my opinion. Now we're getting into our colors. This is an almond satin finish and is going to be our base color for the mask. This is where the fun really starts to take place. We're going to take a light brown color. It's an acrylic paint on a dry rag, and we're going to just randomly wipe it in areas to give it kind of a dirt look. This is going to be our first coat of the grime that collected on the mask. Now we're taking our 80 grit sandpaper and very lightly scuffing the mask in random spots for more wear. You really can't go hard on this because when I did, it was taking some of the finish off the mask. Now we're going back over the mask a second time with a dark brown, repeating the same steps as we did with the light paint, just add it in random spots to add our second layer of dirt. And again, repeating the process with the sandpaper, just adding more scuffs and scratches randomly. Now we're adding our last layer of dirt, which is essentially just black paint on a wet rag. And more scratches. Now we're going to go ahead and paint the inside of the vent holes with our dark brown paint. Now we're adding all the marks on the mask. Despite what a lot of people believe, this is actually not blood. It's just wear marks. I heard it firsthand from the creator of the mask. So we're going in with a very fine brush and taking our time to try to get all the details in here. Use lots of photos for references if you have to. Now it's time to work on the strap. I'm just taking a hot glue gun and folding over the ends of the strap, giving them a little bit of padding because this is where I'm going to be installing the snaps, so I want it to be a little bit thicker. I'm just drilling out the holes for the snaps to make it easier to fit. And installing the snaps is not too hard once you figure out how to use it, but I do recommend reading the instructions. I'm going along the sides with a razor blade, adding tiny little slits, and then I'm going to hit those with sandpaper to really scuff everything up. I'm hitting these snap buttons to scuff that up as well, and really going over the whole thing as much as I can to just make this thing look grimy and grungy and nasty. Now we're adding the electrical tape to the strap, making sure to keep it nice and tight and even on both sides. Now we're going to hit it with some sandpaper just to try to get rid of that sheen and make it really dull and dingy looking. This step is optional, but I like adding this black mesh behind the eye holes just to make sure that they're solid black. Now it's time to install the strap buttons on the mask, and this is a step you really have to be cautious with because I was able to install the first one fine. The second one went in, didn't take very well, and I had to pop it out, which was a whole nother headache. And that's why you see Jace helping me right now. This was honestly the most satisfying part of the whole build, just getting the strap snapped onto the mask. And with the last click, the Ghost Hoc is finished. And there we have it, the Never Hike Alone Ghost Jason mask from a blank to a pretty close to movie accurate replica, I would say. This was a really fun project. The most intimidating part for me was actually drilling out the vent holes. That's something that you really can't undo. I really enjoyed making the dirt and adding the scratches with the sandpaper. That was a really fun part of the build. And it's a really fun project to do if you're interested in any kind of horror or Jason related items. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you on the next one.